Morning, y'all. Hi. It's Kate at Kate's Garden Chicken and Cat Rambles. Sitting out on the porch in my chair. My sister's chair. She's inside having some pasta salad. Some for brunch. I think it's maybe 9:30 in the morning. I'm not sure. Sorry about that. Different hay fever not allergies, but different hay fevers because different things are in bloom here. But yeah, I'm just sitting out on the porch thinking about the flowers we're going to put here. I've been watching the sun's pattern, and I know the patterns will change, especially here in the more south central hemisphere, come spring and summer. But I'm facing at this little angle that's north, so by the time the westerly sun comes from this direction, so much of it's still blocked by the apartment building. So it's brighter here in the morning, so I'm thinking, apparently there's a space. I'm not going to walk over there now because I don't have shoes on and I don't want to get any kind of stickers. There's a sidewalk. Let me see. No, I'll go ahead and walk over because I have nothing better to do. And I think the sidewalk goes all the way. And, I need to get off my lazy butt. So, I hope I have the volume up on this. I don't want to have to stop this. Little do you know, I started, and here I am. So just because Oklahoma is notorious for we call them goat head, or they have another name, grass stickers. And they're, oh my goodness, but I don't think they have them here, but they get tracked around a lot. So because of the traffic of kids who live back in this trailer park and neighborhood cutting through here, and it's being private property and for insurance reasons, he has to put, he's going to put a fence from there to there. And this is the sunniest spot of the yard, so once he gets the fence up, and I'm sure the landlord won't care because, we'll share any extra vegetables with anybody around here, who wants, but grow cucumbers and green beans and tomatoes, things that need more hours of sunlight, and, some breaks with a little bit of shade here and there, and keep this up here as a flower bed. Because if someone does want to steal a tomato or a cucumber, they don't have to. We'll share with anyone. But if they're going to run up and do it because they're feeling froggy, I'd rather them do it there than right in the front porch, and get shot. So, anyway, but yeah, and just keep this, we might do some flowers on the side. We'll see you, or a little hedge of bushes, because you can obviously tell ain't shit growing there. It's a hard, packed Oklahoma clay. Oh my God, it's like stepping on concrete. And there's some of it tore up, and you can see it's just, haven't had any significant rain since back in August. So, yeah, we need some thunderstorms. But anyway, and just bring it out to here so that the guys or whoever mows this can, they got their little path, and just, I brought a bunch of those wildflower seeds that I could gather of the 4 o'clocks, and this is be a place that they'll love. We're going to put a little bit of border, bring in some soil, and I may put a few hot pepper plants there because they can be pretty as plants, and people aren't as apt to run up and just steal a fiery hot jalapeno, but maybe some pepper plants in there, and of course, probably some marigolds because I love the smell and the look of them. And they'll grow nice and tall along that back wall. Because you need to deadhead them, and it's something we'll sit in the chair and bend over and deadhead like a couple old ladies do sitting on a porch. And that's for next spring. And hopefully, the next couple of months will be hot. So next month we'll get more balanced out in living together and living with another adult woman, and I've been in isolation so long and not around people and having to live with a person. She says I say sorry too much. Well, if I knock something over or I do something that I feel like has inconvenienced you, I'll apologize for inconveniencing you, but so I can't help it. I don't know, it's just been something instilled in me for the last 55 years. So yeah. So anyway. Oh, that's a whole therapy session later. But this area is pretty bleak. It's really sandy, and it's builder sand, and it's Oklahoma red dirt. You can see kind of down there that I don't know what comes out of the dirt, if it's a worm or a caterpillar, but for some reason under here you can see all the little bird footprints. Look at them, and they've got these little holes. So I don't know if I haven't heard a lot of cicadas here, locusts or whatever you want to call them, but there could be some beetle. But to me it reminds me of sometimes it's hard to tell if I'm looking at a hole or, yeah, I don't think that's a hole, but anyway, those are the holes. They look different in Delaware, but that's very typical for cicadas, but this is kind of late in the season for them to be coming out. But the weather here is different, but I haven't heard any in the trees at night. Of course, I haven't sat out here much at night yet because it's just been too many skeeters, but these are the holes, and I don't know if maybe there's some birds that nest or that's what they sleep. Because you see there's nothing but little footprints, little birdie footprints around there. I don't see any. The other day I thought I saw a dog print or a cat print, and I don't know, maybe there's some birds that, I know this tree, we've seen house sparrows, I've seen some tan, look like just house finches, just your generic regular finch. I've seen a couple, they look like Carolina wrens. I mean, they're hopping around. They're not as friendly as the birds in my yard who are like, hey, it's the food lady. Let's go chat with her in the swing. I miss that, but there's a piece of the jade that's been taken or broken off down there. My sister might have been pruning the jade and just threw it down there. Who knows? I'm sure it won't grow, but we'll see. But there could be a flock of something that we're not aware of that roost here at night. That this is where they stay at night or hunt early in the morning. But I've been out many mornings before the sun's up. This looks like nighttime activity, but yeah, it looks like bird activity of some sort. Little holes anyway. Yeah, I'm sure you guys are enthralled, but see, they have another patch over there. To me that patch looks darker, but I think it's just the lighting. But you see little pieces of the wandering Jew plant that has fallen, but yeah, you can see a little more holes. But yeah, I don't know what it is, but I'm pretty sure it's little birds. It's not big enough or shaped, and there's no pad prints as it being like a possum or anything like that. This is not hidden enough, especially with that busy street there. Which yeah, it's a busy street here in Edmond, but the way they are building up around Milton, not that much busier than Milton, but busier. Later into the night, I think, but nights do get really dark here still, even though we do have a lot of glow from the city. But sorry, driving back from the countryside the other night, coming back from Sunday, coming back from Hillsdale, it was nice to just see the stars and how far you could see. But I was really tired, and yeah, it was great. So anyway, enough babbling about me sitting out here feeding. So I'm trying to film the birds, but now I'm walking around, of course, and scaring the birds. So anyway, vegetables along that fence line this spring, and shade-loving flowers through here. I mean, I think I may have to put marigolds down the sidewalk so it's more as you walk down it you can deadhead, but I need to really watch this afternoon and see how far up the sun comes to here. And I know it comes quite a ways up, and even some late afternoon sun would be enough to make the marigolds happy. It's a bright enough spot here, and the heat. One thing about Oklahoma that's kind of different than the East Coast and in the South, where it's really green and more humid, that a lot of things out there that can't survive without full sun all the time. And they recommend that here, full sun to dappled shade, because even if something's just got dappled sun and shade here, the heat, just the overall heat of Oklahoma, can make up in somehow for the lack of sun. So things can grow, like in places like this and in pots and where you can move them, vegetables, but like the guy next door had that little garden. I don't know if, I think maybe I showed it to you in a previous video, around his front steps, and he's like, if we want to plant in there, we're welcome to, because he's built a little garden annex he's on the end. He doesn't have anyone on top of him, but on the other side, he's built a little garden annex for his planting. So, I may sprinkle some more wildflowers. I have plenty of seed, and, sometimes when you buy, it's cheaper to buy a whole flat of flowers or 2 8-packs, and then once you get it in there, you realize, gosh, I got this one extra one. But I usually just put it in somewhere, because, I'll start out doing rows and go, why am I working so hard to make these rows when I just like a hodgepodge color everywhere? I like a nice bohemian mix of just, I want it to look like a mosaic, you know what I mean? So anyhow, but the lilies will go there. I'm going to get them some really good soil. We might see if, here towards the winter, if we can, how much it would cost us to swing like a half ton or a quarter ton of good garden soil that her son could pull with his truck. He could pull and dump it here. This outdoor garden soil and compost mix, We'll see. And then let it just sit there for the winter and finish composting and, stir it up every now and then and, clean out any weeds that pop up and let it kind of get itself established and settled before we start spring planting. But over here, next week we're supposed to have days into the 70s and 60s and nights down into the 40s. So once we've had that doesn't start till Sunday. So after that, next week, if we've got a full week of that, not, like I said, not this coming weekend, but maybe by next weekend, I'll be ready to put some soil down and get my white lilies from Delaware for my mother's memory garden planted there. So we'll see. It's all a money thing. So, until I go back to work, I'm kind of dependent. I still take care of all the groceries, that kind of stuff. I'm good, but I just I've got to get some more cat litter, and I'll see how things go. And but I'm sure my sister will splurge for a bag of black cow or a bag of topsoil or garden soil for that spot. So yeah, we'll figure it out. But I do want to get those bulbs in. But I wanted to get to know that the ground is cooling off. That the ground is, we're not going to have any more, days where the ground's heating back up to, 70 or above because it's so hot. And, it's kind of the growing season in Oklahoma. It's been a long time since I've been here and actually felt it. I've seen things on, like, looking at weather apps and thinking, okay, we're kind of, Delaware's north and east, we're not New England, we're in the mid-Atlantic, so that makes us a little more similar, not in, like, longitude and latitude and that kind of crap, but in our climate. But, yeah, the intensity of the heat here, I'm sure, is very different. I'll have to get back used to. The few days that it has been hot, I can feel it, like, on my skin, like, even sun through the car window was making my arm a little too hot, like burning. But breathing wise and being out in it was more tolerable than it is in Delaware because it's not as high humidity. When they're humid here, what they're like, oh my God, it's so humid. I'm like, what? That's not humidity. That's like a mildly humid day, in Delaware, because right there on the coast, our humidity was, rarely did we ever have anything less than 50% humidity. Only during certain little maybe heat plumes. I don't know. But anyway, so it's going to be getting used to whole new seasons, and I'm looking forward to the winter and some snow and some ice, because Delaware hasn't had anything really pretty and white in a long time. And though they don't get a lot here, they do get enough here that, you know, I can always see if one of my cousins wants, once I get back to work, and maybe we'll pitch in on a little cabin to spend a weekend up, in the off season somewhere in one of the mountain areas. It's getting a lot of snow here in Oklahoma. We'll see. There's not much. Most of the mountainous areas, like we're at 1,100 feet, where I'm at here in Edmond. 1,139 feet above sea level. The highest place in Oklahoma is Black Mesa up in the Panhandle, almost to Colorado. I think that's at 48, maybe. I think. And then, you've got the Ouachita Mountains and the Kayenta Wilderness and, all that down here in southeastern Oklahoma. And that goes into Arkansas, and just about the time you come out of that wilderness, you're starting into you're really into the Ozarks, which go up through Missouri, and it's just, it's a beautiful area. Oklahoma is a beautiful place, and I have so much more appreciation of it as I've aged. And this is where my family is, and the first night I was here, I had an anxiety attack, and I think I was so tired that sometimes when you're tired, it does different things to the mind, but in my case, it brought so much clarity, and that caused me an anxiety attack. And like premonitions of how things could be and what they might be, just because I was back in that family womb. And a few things were a bit of premonitions. I've experienced a few things, but a lot of it is, am I experiencing that correctly, or am I experiencing that through the lens of a hermit who doesn't have social skills anymore, So I'm hoping maybe in the next weekend or two I'll get a couple of invites with a couple of girlfriends. Maybe, maybe not. It doesn't really matter, but I do know I better take some time to get away from my sister if we're going to make this work. Yeah. We're both thinkers, and we both think too much, but I'm the more chilled, laid back. She's the ex-hippie, but I'm the more, I don't know, kind of aged hippie. I love her. She's a little more high-strung than I remember her. Or maybe I miss a little more mellow and see it different. Who knows? But it's been 35 years since I've lived around any of my family. Seeing them on holidays and visits and, short things like that. But it's a lot to get used to. But, yeah, I'm looking for the garden. And right here is just a blank nothing space. So I think I'm going to keep my eye out on Facebook Marketplace or something, a thrift shop somewhere, maybe take a weekend and stroll around the old Paris flea market. Find something antique but unique enough nobody else will want it. But something I could sit there and use that as an area where we pot our flowers and put our starts out before they're, to protect them from birds, that kind of stuff, Something old, even if it's like an old... I don't want to put an old antique wood dresser, which would be cool if I lived out in the country. I could make that part of the motif, but I'm urban. Though it's a very small apartment complex, and the owner is all about, the nicer people make their area, the better it makes the property look, the more attractive it looks to people of a better class. And I hate to say class, but you know what I mean. You're more apt to attract a young newlywed couple or an elderly couple retiring or a middle-aged divorcee women when they see that, wow, okay, this place is small, it's in town, but they're all one bedrooms. They're all one bedroom. So, except for a few, you can tell there's probably 3 kids sharing it as roommates, college roommates, because we're right close to the university and the high school is right down the street. But the more homey and the more pleasant you make your little spaces look, make it more attractive to people who aesthetics mean things, and that's the truth. People, we see the world first with our eyes. Some with their, some people who don't have eyes, just their ears and, what they hear and they smell. But typically the first thing you notice in the morning, not always what you hear, but first thing your eyes open, and then it's like, boing, I'm awake, Unless you've been laying there smelling bacon and just holding your eyes shut, trying to milk every moment so the bacon and the breakfast will be ready so you can just hop in there and eat and not have to. Yeah, sometimes you have the childish moments. I don't anymore because I'm the only person that takes care of me. So if I want to eat, I hop in there and get it. But I do dream of bacon sometimes. I think that's very healthy. Very healthy to dream of bacon. So we've gone from flower beds and urban living to bacon. Yeah. And that's where Kate's mind is really going squirrel. Really just being distracted, seeing something, squirrel. Like that dog that stops in the middle of hiking its leg white peas and it stops because it sees a squirrel, But, or how squirrels just run up to you and stop and then like, oh, I've changed my mind, I'm going this direction instead. But, yeah, that's me. A bad pointer dog, I don't know. But, yeah, that's just I think it's just not having a routine of my own anymore. And yeah, I know I have to make a routine of my own, but now, after 15 years now of making my own routines, I'm having to make a routine that includes the routine of someone I love dearly, but she's a 7-year-old woman set in her ways too. And with her children and family drama issues, and I don't offer advice, I just listen, sit here on the periphery, that's me, watch and listen. So that's where they got to be careful. But, I just don't want to get wrapped up in the drama. I love them all. I'm not taking sides. I will experience you all from the experience I'm having with you in person, one-on-one, as we are in a group. Things get edgy or hostile, I'll leave the group and you'll know why, because I'm not having it. You guys have some beef going on between mom and son or son, or daughter-in-law, or cousin and mom, or cousin and other cousin. That's okay, fine. I mean, that happens. Who knows? I don't want to get wrapped up and have any kind of thing like that going on, but I can see that happening by not taking a side. But if that's your beef with me, is that I didn't take your side, and I didn't take, I'm not going to take sides. Now, if I see some pure injustice, meanness, or cruelty, or disrespect going on, or you disrespect someone in my family right in front of my face, then you're going to get an earful. But for the family to be in a group and disrespecting each other over stupid stuff, like sports, religions, politics, or, well, in 1977 you did this, or I don't want to hear it, Or if there's just a beef about, you didn't invite me to this, or, there was a misunderstanding over a text, because when you get a whole generation of Gen Xers, some baby boomers and Gen Xers, and all the riffraff that came after us, then you've got, old tech, new tech, misunderstandings, someone being fascinated with their new tech, but they don't know anybody, so their kid feels like, you're stalking me. Why are you watching me? Why do you have these pictures of my house? Why are you calling me about everything? Well, when you get older, if you have children like that, I don't. I had Paul for a while before, yeah. But the last couple of years, I've had to learn a bunch of tech stuff. Making videos over the past 3 years, I've just had to pick up on stuff. But I can see where, it's just these mixing of these generations, and old generation having to learn something that's strictly a very modern generation thing, like all the tech. I tell people, no disrespect, but I'm tech-hearted. I'm sorry, I just cannot grasp it. Some of it I get, but, I'm too old to make my ADD brain focus on becoming an IT person now. And I got a whole family full of IT persons, so that makes me lazy. I don't need IT persons, I kind of think of that old world community. Okay, we got 2 IT person. Okay, now we got 2 carpenters, and he can really plumb really well. All these, when you have this big family, and I don't know, maybe it's something genetic, or it's in all families and clans, because we're all very mainly Scottish and English and Native American. So we all kind of like All right, so, you know, we got a doctor in the family. We could have a small village. We could survive like that movie, The Village, you know. You got everybody who knows how to do a little bit of everything to make a little small world if you had to, you know, go off grid and live in a family commune. But oh my God, they were like, that's a crazy cult full of crazy people. No, they're not crazy people. They're not cult people. They're just family. Yeah, I could never do that. No, 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 no. I want to live within decent driving distance of my family. I want to live outside of town where they at least have an urgent care. They don't have to have a hospital, but they have at least an urgent care. Within, you know, 45 minutes of a bigger city, hour of a bigger city at least. We'll see. Where I can, you know, work part-time and have my little plot of land. You guys know my dream. I'm not going to go into it again. The more I talk about it out loud to myself and share it, like especially with you guys, it helps me manifest it. I feel like helps me make it more real. But my sister's like, yeah, you've told me about this thing, your dream thing 4 times. I'm like, I know, but part of it's saying it out loud. Hearing it out loud helps me. If I'm going to say it out loud, who else am I going to say it out loud to but my friends? Right now, the only friends I have around me are you guys and my kitties and some birds who are waiting for me to shut up and leave them the bread. So anyway, I'm going to end this video here at 25 minutes of me rambling and you looking at the underside of a very small urban apartment complex. So I'm hearing some garden plans with something, even if it's like an old wire baker's rack, but something rustic, something that will blend in well. Old in color, something that can stand right here, because this is not going to get much of any rain unless it's really blowing storm. But where I can keep garden stuff, because we don't have an outdoor shed or an outdoor locker. And I don't have a lot of garden stuff, but I would like some sort of little, even if I had to buy one of those plastic tough things from Lowe's or Home Depot that are the same kind of color right here, this taupe, you know, like a cabinet doors, which I really don't like plastic, but it's something that's lightweight, and if I have to move it out of here, I don't have to worry about it getting destroyed. It's not going to get blown away in this little cove, but it's affordable, and I can keep my gardening stuff and my planting stuff and have a little bit of space to set out little seedlings, things that need to be outside yet but don't need sun. Like, I know I can use this rail here under the steps, so that comes back about 3 steps deep this way, so that I could, you know, set small things that won't get damaged. And there's one guy that lives upstairs above us, and he's handicapped, so I don't want anything that's going to be in his way. This guy's younger. I don't know what he does. Sometimes he has friends over. That guy down there is an older guy. So this is like, we live in a 4-unit like this, but there's a single unit that sticks off each end. So we're just one on this side, and then there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Yeah, when she said 14 unit, I kept having trouble picturing it until I got here. And this guy named Robert lives over here to the right. And we're going to, if we want more flowers or we have overflow, we're just going to stick them over there and let them go wild in his little front flower garden. And the spigot is right there. There's an outdoor spigot that doesn't go to either of our water bills. It's part of the property's main, I guess. I don't know how it works out. But our 2 apartments can use it, and we're just gonna get a little splitter. Those little splitters you get at Ace, and so we have our hose, he has his hose, and we each can have water whenever we want. And because I'm sure we'll want to use his hose to drag, or either of ours actually, to the same distance, to drag one around to water along the fence if we need to. Because I'm not carrying a watering can back and forth. And I brought my little sprayer that I had at home, so it's in my gardening bag. So yeah, I only brought a bag full of gardening stuff and one little green pot. And everything else is replaceable. It's not the end of the world. But anyway, it's the end of this video. All right, guys. I love you. Take care, and we'll have a chat again soon. Bye, y'all.